LinkedIn. Oh, LinkedIn.
Yeah. Could you say that again? Because I couldn't hear you.
Can I be like,
It's still the same. You are cutting out a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
okay,
cutting.
I'm not on my laptop, so, or like my usual laptop, so I'm
It's like
not.
this in your mic, kind of like fuzzy a
Yeah,
bit.
okay. Um, I'm in like I'm not at my house right now, and I'm using someone else's laptop, like a family member's laptop. So I'm not really sure how good this is gonna work. Look, like, is there background noise or is it just my voice?
It's just your voice that's a bit fuzzy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then we can continue because there's like a song playing in the background, and
Very well.
No.
You cut out. You just cut out.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. There's no
Like in the middle of nowhere, you're like cutting out, but then generally your voice is fuzzy.
Okay, it's fuzzy. Is this
like
better
when
or
you're on an old laptop and it's like been no
Yeah,
longer.
I don't know how this works. This is like my really old laptop, so or like my
Oh.
dad's laptop.
Yeah, that happened to
Or
me.
is it Apple or HP?
I have an Apple, but it's like a 2014 MacBook Pro.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have the exact same model.
Okay. Okay, is it better now? Because I just changed something in like my microphone
yeah, it's a
settings.
bit better. It's a bit better.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit
Okay.
better.
Okay. So today, like, I got a couple of emails like about like a lot of people missed the second class and they didn't know how to cut a card. So what we're gonna do this class, I'm gonna walk you through how to cut like an actual card, like when you're doing research, and then we're gonna do something called online flowing. So we're gonna use Google Sheets.
I
Does
hear
everyone-
like over your voice, it's a little low, and kinda I hear like other people talking or some sounds.
Yeah. Right now.
They will-
Oh, I'm not at my house, so
Oh, okay.
yeah. So yeah, I'm sorry if that's the issue. I can always just type in the chat if that works for everyone.
I have a
Hopefully it
question.
isn't too bad. Yeah, go ahead.
You didn't post any homework, right? Because I didn't
Yeah,
find it.
I didn't because like I got like 5 or 6 emails from people who missed class, second class, and they were like, okay, I don't know how to cut a card, and like they were in the like or the third class and they didn't know how to cut a card, so I was like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna walk you guys through how to cut a card right now. And the problem is like about the paperless debate, like Microsoft Word thing, like I downloaded it like probably a year or two ago, and I couldn't like remember how to do it, and I couldn't find any videos on YouTube on like how to do it. So I'm gonna have to like ask a friend or something and get back to you guys. But like for now, we can use Google Docs. Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah, I have a question. Another one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Simple Tutor. How long does it go until?
So
Like
I can
what month?
post the.
It's like
It should go
July.
until like mid-July, I think.
Like I don't know, like 20.
I
Yeah,
have.
yeah,
I
it's
just
probably till
wanted.
the end of July.
It goes to July 29.
Yeah.
Yeah, July 29th.
Yeah. So it goes to the end of July.
I just wanted to say something. If whoever has like an HP laptop, it's already pre-downloaded on your computer.
Okay, okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, because
I
like
have a
I just
Mac,
searched it up on my computer. It was already pre-downloaded. So
Really?
okay, that's good.
yeah. So yeah. You could just check
Okay,
it. If not, you could probably try downloading it yourself. It's not really that hard to download Microsoft Word.
so okay. Um, okay. Okay, I think we're good. So we're gonna start off by like learning how to cut a card. So can everyone open up a Google Doc, like just a regular Google Doc?
Can I use the Microsoft Word because I already
Yeah,
have it
yeah, you can use that. Yeah, sure.
there.
I'm gonna share my screen. Let me just open my Google Docs. I have to sign in. Okay. Um, just give me a second. Right, I can go ahead and share my screen. Okay, can everyone see this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead and go to just search up search up LD topics. I think we can search that up and go to the first link. And then all the topics should be there.
Wait, what topics?
So search up Lincoln Douglas topic. We're gonna focus on LD. So that's the Lincoln Douglas debate event. And that's what I'm gonna like.
Is it
just
like the
teach you how to
first link you see?
Yeah, it's the first link. Yeah. So
Okay, yeah,
once
then
you
I
put
got
LD
it.
topics, then you should go to this first topic link. Let's see.
Wait, which one?
So
Oh,
we're
that one.
gonna go to the first national tournament topic. Okay, so just copy paste the topic into your Google Doc. So I'll give everyone some time to do that. So just make a Google Doc and just copy paste it in there.
Is it the resolved government employees have a moral
Yep,
obligation to
it's that one. I'll put in the chat also here.
For this, are we doing affirmative or negative?
We're gonna do both, so that's what we're gonna practice today.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So mine changed into like Open Sans. So do I just change it back to Calibri?
Yeah, just use Calibri. I just copy pasted it for now. But you can usually change it back to Calibri.
Yeah, I did.
For some reason, I kept trying Calibri on
It
the.
doesn't show all the fonts. You have to click more fonts.
Yeah.
What font size do we use, or do we keep the same one?
11.
Usually it's 11. It's 11.
Okay.
Yeah, and Microsoft Word's like automatic 11. So.
Oh, it's automatic 11. Okay, that's good. And just make your text black, and then you should be fine. And you don't need to bold it. I don't think.
Which topic did you choose? Because I think I might have taken a different one.
So the topic's in the chat. It's resolved government employees have a moral obligation to leak classified information to address injustice. So
Okay.
what the topic is basically saying is that like government employees, if they see something bad going on like within the government, they have a moral obligation to like leak any information needed to like kind of like fix the problem, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll teach you guys a good trick like that you guys can use. Have you guys like heard of ChatGPT? I'm gonna assume most of you have.
Sorry, what?
Have you guys heard of ChatGPT?
I think I heard it, but I
I know
don't.
what ChatGPT is.
So usually you can like use that. Just give me a second. I'll stop. I think I need to log in. It's on my dad's account.
Yeah, you have to log in for this, right?
Yeah. Oh, do you
Or
guys? If you guys
make an
never,
account in
I'm-
ChatGPT.
yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to create an account. I'm just gonna show everyone how it works. But it's just like a good tip. Okay. I logged into mine. Yeah,
So,
so like a good thing whenever you're doing research and debate, right? Always use like any resources. So like if you look at like ChatGPT, right? It's good because you effectively get like a mega mind for all ideas. So if you like even copy paste the topic in, right? It's like give me some affirmative ideas for this topic. Like you can always just do that. Right. And then like the reason why it's like a lot of people use ChatGPT nowadays is because like it gives you like a comprehensive understanding of like how good a topic is on like certain sides and whatnot. Yeah, Darsh, you can go and ask the question.
Whoa, you're skid.
Yeah,
Yours,
your screen.
oh, did you do
Huh?
like? Okay, your screen. Something happened to it.
yeah, it just
Oh,
went
okay, my bad.
sideways.
But now,
Okay, it's good now.
So, I kind of like there's no I don't know how to get to like the Google Docs place you're talking
Do you
about.
have a Google Docs account? Like do you have a Gmail account?
Yeah.
You know
Just search
what
up-
the like the 9 waffles are?
No, you can just like get one of those
So-
like when you're going in like speech and debate, and there's like the assignment thing that you can do, I think.
You can type docs in the just type like docs in the thing and then click the first link and it takes you there, or just type Google Docs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just do it. Just Google Docs.com. Docs, yeah, something like that. See, but like
Wow, that's a
whenever
lot of
you're
information.
Yeah, so it's always good because like let's say you don't know anything about this topic, right? The first thing that like once like ChatGPT has come out, like my friends and I do is right, we first go and then we just basically ask it to give like affirmative and negative ideas.
So
Yeah,
it
we
will
can
give like a full summary.
Yeah, it'll basically give you a summary, which is the coolest part. So like it'll give you like, whistleblowing is a civic duty. Government employees have a moral obligation to leak classified information. Like you want to uphold the Constitution, you want to protect public interest, you want to, promote ethical conduct. And a lot of these things, right, you can like mix together. So you can like combine upholding constitutional values with promoting ethical conduct. Like these are things a US citizen must do, right? So
You
you,
put
can always
negative-
like
So do you
Yeah,
take
well,
those
that's-
information and then like search it up in Google and use those, or do you
Yeah,
directly
sure,
get the information from ChatGPT and just use it in your
No,
debate?
you should never take information directly from ChatGPT. ChatGPT should only scan, like, if you don't even have to use it, but like, if you want to use it, only use it to like basically get kind of a general sense of the ideas, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like, you can say certain government employees, right? Like, they have a oath that they take to protect classified information. So if they break that, then they're kind of breaking that oath, and that's kind of against like American values, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like you can say it'll cause chaos, instability, like up here. You could say like a whole lot of things. Like you could say diplomatic relations, right? Unauthorized leaks of classified information can strain diplomatic relations between countries. So you can make a lot of that type of like arguments, but you want to understand first like who you're talking about. So this wouldn't really work since this is like a US centric topic, if that makes sense.
Wait, how do you
Yeah.
sign into it? Like,
I don't. You don't have to create an account right now. I don't recommend you to create an account right now. But like, what you want to do is like always like I'm just showing this as like this usually takes like multiple hours to do, but it's the background researching is really important because if you don't know what you're talking about, you can't research it. Does that make sense?
mhm.
So I just wanted to like give an example of how like you should kind of like, I guess, look at the research aspect of, or like the background aspect of the researching, because one thing you should like always do no matter what is have a good background understanding of the topic, and then you can move towards making, I guess, your actual case. Yeah,
Oh, so
Darcy,
which
you
is
can go
why
ahead
you
and
use
ask
ChatGPT to have like a
Yeah,
brief understanding.
yeah. Usually for me, this takes multiple hours, but since we only have like an hour and some minutes for the class, I just wanted to show like a quick example of what you can do if you're running short on time.
Will ChatGPT, can you access it without like logging in or signing in?
I think you have to create an account, but like right now,
How old?
I
How
don't-
old do you have to
huh?
be to create it?
I have no
don't know,
clue.
but I
I just know everyone has one.
I tried. It said that you have to like.
It said that I couldn't do it because of
Okay.
my year.
Okay,
I'm
yeah, you
just
guys
gonna
might
continue.
be just too young, I guess, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure I didn't put like my right age on the Gmail account, so I don't know. I might like be born in 1987, like according to Google.
What?
Yeah. 'Cause
Does it
I probably put a fake birthday there. Like I made this account a long time ago, so I don't know.
Yeah, because it says you have to put your birthday to go into ChatGPT, and it's mandatory.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, they probably have like
Yeah.
a limit of 16 or 18, but I'm 18 already, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, so that means I'm not going to be able to join.
Yeah, then I'm not gonna be able to do that.
You might not be able to, yeah. So yeah, don't make an account right now. There's no reason to make an account. I'm just saying like if there's any tools that you can access such as these ones, always use them. Yeah, Darsh, you can go and ask a question.
What do you do after you wrote like the topic?
So did you make a Google Doc and put the topic in there?
Yeah, I did that. Now what do you
One
do?
second. On one thing. Okay. So once we get the topic, right, and then we have like, I just wanted to use ChatGPT as like a place to get a couple of topic ideas. So once we look here, right, like, okay, you guys want to take a look at this and tell me which idea you like the most. So like read through each one of these and then I'll scroll down.
Preventing abuse of power.
Preventing abuse of power. Okay. We have, there's a couple more if you guys want to look at those.
But
Wait, so we put the topic in the Google Doc. So then what do we do next?
So once you put the topic up there,
Protecting
you can
human rights.
Sorry,
Okay,
what?
protecting human rights. We'll do these two. So we'll do first maybe protecting human rights, and then we can do preventing abuse of power. Does that sound good?
Yeah, so wait, we're doing affirmative, right, first?
Yeah.
We're gonna do affirmative first. Yeah. So these are the two cards we're gonna make. So copy paste, like just put preventing abuse of power in here.
Can
Okay.
you like put it in the chat? Because like we can't copyright.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. Just give me a second. I'll make sure like I write down the whole thing. What's the other one? Protecting human rights. So just copy paste these like into chat. Oops, sorry. So does everyone see in the chat it says contention one?
I have a question.
What's your question?
You said that you would post how the instructions on the Word.
Yeah, no, yeah, but like I don't remember how to do it because I downloaded it like a year or two ago. It's called verbatim. So when you
Go
click
to like
this,
just go to like the downloads on your system, or like an
Yeah,
app.
so-
If
so
you have
I
the
can
app
give you
store,
guys
just
a
like
link.
click search the Word doc, and then you'll probably get it there.
here, so it's called paperlessdebate.com. You can get it here, but like I just don't remember how to do it. You can go to like the installation instructions. Does everyone see this? I'll put this in the chat.
Wait, where do you find the things that you had? Like, was those?
Huh?
Like you had those little boxes, those white little boxes. If you would just like click it, it would underline and highlight for you.
Yeah, no, so that's on Microsoft Word. So hold on. So
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
doing it on
find
Google
it.
Docs right now.
I can't find it.
That's
on-
because
Yeah, you have to. It's like
Yeah.
an extension.
Ah,
yeah, it's an extension. So you have to download it from the link I send in chat. So
okay. Yeah, I can do that.
Wait, how? What if you don't actually have Word?
Just like
So
download it from
basically,
the
like,
app store.
like
No,
you don't
but
need to download it from the App Store, but you can get it through this link. Hold on. I can copy paste it in the chat.
Okay.
So
Google Docs.
I put the instructions
Yeah.
first, and then I put website second. So if you guys want to take a look at that,
Oh wait, so okay.
yeah.
Do we have to use like the paperless debate word, or can we, if we have like actual Microsoft Word, then can we use that?
So like the paperless debate one is also like an actual version, but like they just have an extension on it, if that makes sense. So hold on, I can share my screen and then
I have a question.
okay, can everyone see this?
Yeah.
So when you click like this gray thing at the bottom, it's called verbatim. That's what you get from paperless debate. So when you open this, right, it'll create a new document for you. Can everyone see this?
Yeah.
Mhm. Oh,
Okay.
it's the add-ins.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an add-in. So then you go here, right? There's a bunch of add-ins. So
Okay.
if you want to underline it really quickly, like a lot of text, right? And then you want to like, I guess, I don't know, like make a block title, right? This becomes like a title. If you want to highlight it, you can highlight it, like that type of thing. Understand? So it
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
it much easier, but it's not really necessary.
Yeah. None of this,
Like yeah.
none of the add-ins are in the actual Word, are they?
No,
No,
they're not.
I have a
So
question.
it's like kind of like an extension, yeah.
So I tried downloading the verbatim. So I don't actually have Word because it's paid.
Yeah,
So I got the V6 installer because I'm on Mac,
yeah.
the Mac one, and then so it downloaded the verbatim and everything. But when I opened it, nothing happened.
Nothing happened. Oh, okay, that's odd.
Yeah, also, when I
usually
opened
for
it,
me-
it said you can't open it because of unknown creator.
No, I mean it
Okay,
doesn't say it for me. But can I? Do I have to like wait and see?
See, the thing is, I don't remember. I put the instructions in the chat, so hold up. Where is it? Okay, installation instructions here. So I can put it in the chat. Take a look at that because I don't remember how to do it. I'll be honest with you because I did it a year or two ago, and I had someone do it for me. It's the I'll delete this message.
Wait, for the PC, do you click the installer one?
Yeah.
It's right here, I think. So for Mac, it's just
So
like
if you're on
download the.
PC, I think you have to click the plugins for PC.
Plugins? Okay.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
and
I am.
if you already have
I'm
Word, I
sorry.
think download the plugins for PC.
Okay. Okay, I'm just for work. Okay, it's downloading.
Okay, so I mean we can do that later, but we can go ahead and get started on like Google Docs first. So usually like you can make your two outline contentions here, right? And you want preventing abuse of power, and then how does that relate to protecting human rights? So you always want your contention to connect with ideas. Does that make sense? So like if you're gonna make a contention saying, okay, we can prevent abuse of power, right? And then this leads to protecting human rights, you can kind of make this your impact. But then you can also say like what impact this brings. Does that make sense? Can everyone hear me? Or am I muted? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Okay,
have to write
Shravani,
the where it says you always want your contentions to connect with your ideas.
oh, with all your ideas is what I mean.
We have to write that.
So, no, I'll share the Google. I'll put it in the Google Classroom. This is just for reference. Like, because I'm not sure how well you guys can hear me, so I just wanted to write it down. Yeah, Shravani, you can ask the question.
It's kind of like a comment, like how they relate. Can I share, or do you want, if this is homework, do you want us to like type it in our own way?
So I didn't assign any homework, if that's your question. Well, I didn't hear you.
Can I share what the connection between contention 1 and contention 2 is?
I guess you could do that, but like what I've been doing is that kind of like just like have a clear connection between your ideas. So if you want to talk about, I don't know, like preventing abuse of power, right? Then bring an example here. So bring an example and then connect that to saving humans' rights and lives. Like have something like that. Does that make sense?
And then contingent 2, we write more about that.
Yeah, you write more about that, basically saying how like whistleblowers can do this and this. So first, like kind of make this like a broader area. area of interest, which basically means like this is what you want to talk about. That's your broader area of interest. So in general, you want to prevent the abuse of power. Then you can list out your impacts. So impacts are always something like I explained this. So impacts are just like what happens when you implement a certain thing. Like let's say you want to, you actually want to like make sure government employees leak classified information, right? So when you prevent this injustice, what happens? You save lives. I don't know. You make like society better. You make it more trustworthy, more transparent. What does that mean?
Could you post this Google Doc like in the chat
Yeah, yeah, I can put the link to it.
so that we can?
Or can you put it in the Google Classroom?
Yeah, I said I'll put it in the Google Classroom. I can do that right now. Let me-
So do we like find resources and cut the cards right now?
Yeah, I'll go through that. Oops, I need to share it to Simple Tutor first. It's on my private account. Oop.
No, you forgot to click add link.
Yeah. Okay. It should be in there now. So everyone, if you guys want to hop on the document, you can do that. So I'll break it down. So first in your case, right, you can put an intro. So let me bring up an example that I've had in the past. Okay, here. So this is something I cut a couple months ago, or like I believe in December, I want to say. So this topic was like about the China's Republic, the People's Republic of China. They should prioritize environmental protection over economic growth. So you always just start off with the statement, whichever side you're on. Say I strongly affirm, or I am proud to negate, whatever side. So here, like since we're there, so I am proud. Okay, we can just say I strongly affirm the resolution resolved. Government employees have, whatever the topic is. So always start off with a strong statement like that. And then if you're on the affirmative, you can just move to value and value criterion. So here, so there's a couple of different value criterion. So I'm just going to, so value is what you want to achieve at the end of the day. So if your value is, I guess, morality, right? So you want the world to be more moral, then you should be maximize societal welfare because that makes the world more moral. Does that make sense? Hello? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the criteria is like what you use to judge if you kind of like won the debate. So the criteria is if we are able to maximize societal welfare, so basically make society more transparent, better in like, I guess in moral ways, then we achieve our value, which we wanted to achieve, which is morality. So always set out like what you need to do to achieve the values. That makes sense. That you should always, that's called framework debate. So like always make sure that you stick to your framework, like always back down your framework, but like sometimes you can accept your opponent's framework, but that's in the more complicated debate sectors, which I'll get into the later classes. But always make sure that when you're talking about framework, without a value and value criterion, you will not win a debate. Like the judge will vote against you there and then and there if you don't have a value and value criterion, because the judge wants to know what to judge you on. Okay, so if you say your value criterion is, I guess, justice, right? Then somewhere in your case, you need to show like, you're promoting justice. Does that make sense? So in this case, I think it should be just justice. So injustice, since the word injustice implies a, I don't know, in words, just the value for today's round should be, I guess, okay, the value should be justice, I reckon. And then value criterion should be because of the word in So always try to use the topic to kind of like create your framework. Then it kind of has a good backing because if it says injustice, right, then you should probably use that word to kind of like back up your framework, if that makes sense. Does that make sense for everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So because the word injustice in the resolution implies an obligation towards justice, the values for today's round is justice. And the value criterion should be, you could say like saving human lives, or depending on you could say like, you could also say maximizing societal welfare. Like you could say things like that, if that makes sense. Like as long as it supports justice. So at the end of the day, your case should have like kind of proven to the judge that in your world where like government employees can leak classified information, right? They have a moral obligation. I guess like you basically have to prove that you solved it through using the word. So another value you could have, you could say like you could, because of the word moral in the resolution implies a moral obligation. Value for today's round is morality. Like we can stick to the same one. The word injustice in the value criterion should be like, there's so many different things. Just make sure it supports your case. Does that make sense? Like you could basically run anything anywhere. Like run means you're using that value and value criterion. So like just make sure that whatever you do with your value and value criteria, it has some connection to the resolution. Does that make sense? Like you can basically do anything as long as you support it. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then once you move, let's say we say like we're using justice, right? We want to promote justice. How are we going to promote justice? So we're going to prevent the abuse of power, giving, I guess, like more rights to the people and preventing, the abuse of power. And we're maintaining justice because with the abuse of power comes this, and this. So that's what you want to argue. So let's see, how do whistleblowers prevent the abuse? So, okay, why don't we do this? Whistleblower in government. You can just search this up, right? So sure, like look at this. So we can say like, so address injustice, right? In government. Okay, let's see. List of whistleblowers. So you can always go here, like to Wikipedia, but make sure you go all the way to the bottom. Oops. Okay, my computer's lagging. You can always go to the bottom and you can get all the sources. Does that make sense? You guys can like verbally say yes or no if that makes sense.
Yeah.
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 Sure. So look at this. So we can say that like Mark McGann, right? He was a whistleblower and he saw he had ethical issues and Uber's culture was not safe, right? And then we can go command find. You can put Uber right here, Uber, right? CEO or like, there's harassment allegations. So you can like click this link and you can cite that. So you can say like, look, I got a B-. So they published, this was published. See like, oh, this is a good example of, does everyone see the bottom corner where it like has XXX here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So this is basically, this has to be filled in by the date the article was published. Okay. And although like, the date it was right here, right? It says 2017, it's right here. But somehow like the thing doesn't pick it up. So what you can do is like, we can use this article, right? So we can first copy paste this, right? And then put it up. Okay, preventing abuse of power. Or like protecting human rights. Okay, this is a good place to protect human rights. Right, and then we can just make this a little smaller. Okay, this is. Okay, I don't know why it's not going on one line. Usually it should be on one line. Okay, I have no clue. But usually on Microsoft Word, it'll do a little better. But you can just like shrink this, like make it like 5.
Wait,
Out of 7 is fine.
can't you just put a space between like the comma and HT?
Okay. There was a comma, it just didn't work. I don't know if you can see it
So
right
like
here.
a space between the comma.
Okay, yeah, you
and-
could. Yeah. Okay, that's my fault. Sorry. I'll show. Okay. Oh, okay, that's good. So you can just like shrink it, and then here when you go back to the article, right? This is the date it was published, February 20th, 2017. So you can put 2/20/2017 or whatever. You can go here, right? I just want to zoom in. So you can put 02 20, and then you can put the year 2017, and then now you have a perfectly good site. Does that make sense? Or like sourcing. So once you're done with the sourcing, right? Usually, yeah, you should do the sourcing. You can go here, look through the article, okay? So always read through the entire article. Like it's not that large of an article. Just like read through this entire thing, yeah? So just take your time to read this.
You read it now?
You just read it now, yeah.
Wait, can you post a link in the chat?
Huh?
Can you post a link in the chat?
Oh, link, yeah. Okay. Like a lot of topics you'll be like, I guess, researching most of the time are like kind of like, I don't know, somewhat sensitive topics. So like it's not really like I'm sure it's a sensitive topic for a lot of people, but like this, if you have a problem with it, we can move it, like go to a different article if that's fine. So this is a good statistic. So right here is something you can take. So 25% of the engineers in our division of the company were women in 2015. Just a year later, there were only 3% were women. Can everyone see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you can do is like copy paste this entire thing, right? Take this and then just paste it. Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine if it's a little big. So okay, make the whole thing calendar. Okay. So just make this like, I guess like 7, I guess, size 7. And then what you can do here is you can highlight it. You can usually highlight it, underline it, whatever you want to do. But you can do that. Like usually you don't want to do quotations. You don't want to read quotations. Like you don't
So
want
do
to say
I,
when I
do
ask
we
the
have to
director.
copy paste everything?
Yeah, always copy paste like the kind of general area of that article. Does that make sense? Like whatever you want around that area, because what they're basically asking for is like so if your opponent ever says, oh, can I look at your evidence, right? They want to just make sure that you're not misconstruing or kind of like manipulating your evidence so it looks kind of weird. Does it make sense? Like trying to take it away from the topic. Does that make sense? They just want to make sure your information is valid. So that's why you should always have like all the I guess writing around it so they can kind of look at it and look at the context and look at what the article is saying and make sure that it's in the same way that you're saying it. Does that make sense? You can just like always like just make the size 7, I guess.
Which paragraph is the beginning one?
I believe it's the 3rd paragraph right here.
Okay.
So just copy paste that entire thing and just like highlight the statistics. So what we're gonna do right now is that we're gonna use this example as kind of like the base example of how a whistleblower kind of like protected human rights. So like in this case, it's women's rights. So you can always say like by this guy. Okay, where's okay, I guess I don't. right here. So right here, this Uber guy, right here. You know, he served as Uber's European lobbyist, and then he quit the. You know, he shared 124,000 confidential documents. Right, you can use it as evidence, right? So, and then what you want to do is once you get that type of information, you kind of want to create an argument. So you could say, okay, sure, at Uber, right? So when she joined in 2015, 25% of the engineers in their division were women. A year later, it's only 3% were women, right? Then you can say how, you know, he made a whistleblower, he leaked 124,000 documents. And then, you know, then you need to show how like the amount of women increased and how like sexism in that industry and in Uber, the company decreased. Does that make sense?
Kind of.
Okay, I'll write this down. So there's 3 parts. Okay, let me write this a little bit.
So do we have to type? Do we have to do all this, or can we like watch your document?
Just watch my document. So 3 parts. So first, give background. Kinda, just make your claim. Just make your claim, okay? Then what you should move on is the kind of like the analysis stage. Make your analysis, okay? Make like you know, how the whistleblower, like in this case, how the whistleblower changed things, right? Not really analysis, just give an like how whistleblower changed things, okay? Then give your analysis. Does that make sense? So connect that to like this. So kind of show how, you know, by it's a moral obligation because, you know, this, and this. So because of, I guess, like women being detrimented in the workplace or like being worse off in the workplace, that's a moral issue right there. That's the issue of sexism. So then because of the whistleblower, that issue changed, and thus, you know, that proves that, you know, they should leak classified information to, like here it says government employees essentially. But like I'm just giving this as like an example because to find a government, like this takes multiple hours. Yeah, this takes multiple hours of research. So just always make sure like you kind of adjust the topic. I'm going a little off topic here by using like, you know, a private employee, but just make sure like this is kind of how you cut a card. So always have first, like when you cut a card, okay. 1, look at the background. GPT. So like always have like a quick research like we did with ChatGPT. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Is the S a typo?
Yeah. So to answer Charvik's question, I said like if people are uncomfortable with this, like in debate, you're gonna have to like do a lot of like comfortable things, and that's kind of like the nature of debate. Like there's gonna be some like really, really questionable topics, like especially like relating to a lot of like terrorism and violence. But like as kind of we have to emulate policymakers, like people in our government who have to kind of like debate these topics. And although like, you know, I'm sure like, you know, this harassment topic, especially with like, you know, sexism and like, you know, along like those things along those lines, I understand they're sensitive topics, but you kind of have to like accustom yourself to those things because they exist in the real world. And I think it's good to always understand that like what we're doing here as debaters is kind of like promoting advocacy and kind of giving more people a better understanding of what's going on in our society and how we're going to change that. So like always think of yourself as someone who can like change something. Like that's why debate exists. Debate exists to like create conversations about sensitive topics and kind of move towards a future where, you know, all these bad things don't really exist. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like as a debater, you want to have critical thinking. You want to understand what's going on in our world and kind of like take that into consideration when you look at, you know, what you're debating about, you know, if it's sensitive or not. Like it's always important to, I guess, have a general knowledge of like the reality that we live in. It's not all like, you know, like unicorns and rainbows, you know what I mean? There's a lot of bad things that go on, and I think it's good for everyone of all ages to kind of like understand that like these things happen, and you know, like you just have to understand and move on from that. Like what can you do to make it bigger? Can you like promote advocacy? Like I'm part of like my school's advocacy program, right? Like I go to like protests on like environmental issues and stuff like that, and it's good to always do that. Like always be an advocate for yourself and for the people around you. So that's why I started debate, because like I wanted to have like like increased involvement in my society and the place around me. And that's why I think a lot of you should do, like, that's why I promote debate so much, because it's good for both critical thinking and like actual impacts in the real world. You know what I mean? Like that's what makes you a good debater, when you really care about, something you're talking about. Sorry for going on a tangent there. I'll get back to the lesson. So hard cutting. Okay. So always look at the background. So you can always look at the background, like the quick search we did with ChatGPT. So kind of get like a decent idea of the affirmative and negative sides and like what they're talking about. So that's always a good idea to do that. Then you can move towards like finalizing your, I guess, like points, right? So you want to finalize your points. You want to understand what's important, and how it connects to the topic. Does that make sense to everyone? Like what's important and how does it connect to the topic?
Yeah.
You want to finalize your points like we did here. Find good sources and examples. So usually my cases take like 2 to 3 weeks to complete, and I'm working on it every day for like probably an hour or more. So like this guy, Mark Kaufman, he's everywhere. Like I think you'll see him a lot. Like he's a really credible guy, and he's done a lot of work in climate change. So if there's ever a topic near climate change, you're gonna find this guy for sure. His name is Mark Kaufman. But like those type of sources are always good, because like you can basically like trust anything that they say, like even without a fact check. You should always fact check, but he's a very credible guy. Like you can make these statements like we haven't tipped the global climate in terms of warming past the point of no return, and we can still do this and this. So this kind of sets the background for the entire topic. So he says we aren't yet doomed. Okay, that's a good starting line. Like you want to say like, okay, we aren't yet doomed when it comes to environmental protection. Like you want to support climate change, or go like kind of like fix climate change issues. And then you can move into now, look, okay, so China's greenhouse emissions exceeded those of the US and the rest of the developed world combined. China is now responsible for more than 27% of global emissions, right? Then you can kind of go into why it's important, right? So you can say like climate change is wrecking, change in China is wrecking their environment and their economy, right? So you can say like, reservoir, like there's huge issues with, their factories, their water, crops have been damaged, all these issues, right? So one thing you can always do is create like kind of like an opposition to your opponents. If your opponent says, right, that they prioritize economic growth, then you can say, without the environment, how can you grow the economy? If there's no crops to grow, if there's no, I guess, like food to sell, if there's no materials to make things with, right? You can't really do a lot of things, if that makes sense to everyone. Like always make kind of like a really structured argument. Like this comes with practice. Like I've been doing debate for probably 5 years, and a lot of things I say may not make a lot of sense. But the best way I can put it is that like as you do more and more debate and you do more and more research, like a lot of things just click into place. It almost becomes like a puzzle that you do in your head, if that makes sense. Like the arguments that come up, and then you connect them, you block your opponent's arguments, and you just continue on throughout the debate. Does that make sense for everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to cards, right, just only cards, look at the background always. So in this case, like look at where China is, right? Where are we in the world, right? So when it comes to climate change, we're not almost there, beyond the point of no return where we can't fix climate change at all. And we can still like decrease our emissions and save the world, right? So we can still go farther into the future. But without robust efforts from the world's nations, particularly like major emitters like China, right? This is part of your background. You want to say, without China, then we can't do any of this, right? Then that's part of your background. So always research your background right here. Look at the background, kind of create like, okay, say China's the main key point here, and without China, we can't do this, this, and this. And then your judge will be like, okay, yeah, that's true. So we need China. So then they'll start agreeing with you, right? Then when you want to look at your points, right? So let's look at the points. So the points here is like, it's, environmental policies in China, is imperative, which means it's necessary for solving climate change. Like without China, we're not going to be able to solve for climate change, right? That's one of your main points. Then you can also move towards the fact that climate change in China is wrecking the environment and the economy. So this is kind of like telling your opponent, right? that, okay, even if you want to prioritize the economy, I do both. By saving the environment, I help save China's economy. So you only do one thing, well, I do two good things, right? That outweighs. So that's part of your impact. So you're outweighing, which basically means like you're kind of overstepping on everything your opponent gives. Like you do more than your opponent. So if your opponent says, oh, I save China's economy, I do this, this, and this, right? Then what you're basically saying is I do all of that, plus I save the environment, I save the world, which has, saves millions of lives, billions of lives, whatever you want to say, right? So you want to finalize your points and connect your points to the background. So connect your points to the background, right? And then here, like these sources are extremely good, like Raymond Zong, Michael Page, and then like obviously Mark Kaufman, right? These guys are very, very knowledgeable people, and you'll see them a lot in debate. So good sources and examples, like examples are like really, really important, because let's look here, okay? So, okay, look, this is a good example, right? Low rainfall and record-breaking heat across much of China are having widespread impacts on the people, industry, and farming. River and reservoir levels have fallen, factories have shut because of electricity shortages, and huge areas of crops have been damaged, okay? So, like this is a pretty good case, because I won like I believe like 90% of my rounds. Like I did 20 rounds in this, and I won like 90% of my rounds with this case. Like even the app and neg, this is just the affirmative case, but obviously, like always try to have the most cohesive and connected case you can. That's like the success to winning, because if you understand what's going on and like how to win, right? So you're winning here because you do more than your opponent, right? You have more impacts than your opponent. You save lives, you save crops, you save China's economy, you save China's environment. Those are all real and tangible impacts, like they exist in the real world, right? So when you kind of overstep your opponent saying, okay, we do stuff beyond the economy, you're only doing stuff on the economy, right? We can win this debate, like the affirmative wins this debate, because you're not doing as much as we are, right? Like, and the judge will say immediately, okay, I vote the affirmative because it's so blatant and it's so obvious that the affirmative does two things. It solves the climate issues, and more than that, it saves like millions of lives, it saves the economies, it continues human life. While, if we go with the negative, who's only prioritizing economic growth, right? Then we're basically like falling into this, I guess like we're falling into our greed over, our future. And then the judge will obviously agree with you. Like this, in this topic, the affirmative is a little bit lopsided, but like, a lot of cases are like, there's always going to be a lopside on the affirmative or negative, and you just have to find a way to kind of like
Lopside?
debate that, if that makes sense. Huh?
What do you mean by lopside? Like I know what
Like
that means.
lopsided. So this topic, right? Like lopsided as in it goes towards the affirmative of the resolution. So it kind of supports the affirmative more than the negative. Does
Mhm.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So wait, so on your debate, you want to have multiple like reasonings?
You
why
want to
you're
have
right.
multiple reasoning. The reason why is because when you're debating, right, you want to have multiple like points, because your opponent, like if they're really good and strong points and they really connect well together, they're not going to be able to respond to every single one of your impacts, every single one of your points in their rebuttal speeches. And if they can't respond to everything in your rebuttal speeches, you bring it up in your speech and you say, okay, they can't respond to this now because they didn't respond to it in their previous speech. Like all that kind of stuff I'll teach in the next class or like the class after that. And I think that's enough for I think that's like a wrap on this class. But what I'm gonna post another assignment, like even though I just wanted to explain more of the card cutting, but I'll post the homework and I'll look really deeply into the whole like paperless debate and Microsoft Word thing for everyone. Like I'll delete my Microsoft Word to make sure like I can re-download it and make sure it works for everyone. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. Shravani, do you have a question?
Yeah. For like our first debates, like when we're going to start, like practicing debating in class,
Yeah.
will the topics be like this, or will they start off simple, like chocolate versus ice cream? Which one's better?
I think we can. I think most people like. I feel like we should start off with like a really like a topic like this, because this is how like the real world topics, like all these topics are like all the real world topics. You can look at like all the debate topics from the past years. But the thing is, like, when we debate chocolate versus, ice, or like, ice cream versus chocolate, right? You're not like debating something that has like a lot of kind of like complicated points, right? Like, if you want to look at like this topic where it says, the People's Republic of China ought to prioritize, so they should prioritize the environment or the economy. There's so many different points you could argue. So you could argue that like, it's needed for the world to solve climate change. It's needed for the world to have like a good economy, And if we just stick to chocolate versus ice cream, it's like they're both sweet, right? And they don't really like I can put like a poll or like a Google form or something, and you can vote on the topics if that sounds good to everyone. Like I'll put a couple of simple topics, and I can put a couple of complicated topics, and then we can like do that. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'll put a Google form. I'll put like some couple of simple topics like cat versus dogs, or like I don't know, like birds versus ground animals or something like that, like seals versus whales. I'll put some simple topics, and I'll put some little more complicated topics. They won't be as complicated as this probably, but I just want to have like you guys like really thinking about like, I guess like how to make a good argument. Because right now, right, one is climate change, right? And the second one is supply chain. So you want to argue climate change here. And then, you can also argue supply chains, like without, climate change and China in a severe drought, there's like a loss of hydropower for factories. And without factories, you don't have goods. And without goods, you can't like, you have supply chain issues. Like you could say things like that. But I'll look into it. I'll look into a bunch of different topics, and I'll put a Google form that you guys can vote on. Sound good?
Okay.
Okay. All right. If anyone doesn't have any questions, I can go ahead and end.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
You on Wednesday?
Thank you. Bye. See you on Wednesday.
Bye.
Oh wait, I have a question. Hello. Hello.
I don't think he's there.
Sorry, I was muted. That was my fault.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Have you ever lost over a debate, like ever once?
Yeah, you'll lose a lot of times in debate. Like okay, let me look at my record right now. I can see it. There's something called Tab Room, which is what like every school in the nation uses for debate. I think I won 75% of my rounds or something like that. So in the last term I went in the preliminary, which is just the regular rounds, like where if you win, there's like 6 regular rounds and then there's 3 elimination rounds. So if you lose any of those, you're eliminated. Make sense?
Yeah.
So I won 1, I lost 1, and then I won the other 4. So in the first 6 rounds, I only lost 1. And then in the elimination rounds, I won my first elimination and then I lost the second. Does that make sense?
Okay. So you have to win
so
all 3 to win the whole thing.
So out of 6, you need to win 4 usually. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
You need to have like a majority win, and then you can go. They'll let you go to the elimination rounds.
Okay.
Yep. And then like I don't know. What about this one? Okay, let's look at my Super Debate 2. So here, right, I won.
You're not sharing your
3
screen.
Oh, oops. Okay, that's my fault.
That's right.
I'm just like looking off the thing. Just give me a second. So there's basically league tournaments called CFL. So that's like I forgot what it's called, but it's something. It's called Central Forensics League, I think. And this is the league that like. Wait, where are most of you guys from? California or like?
I'm in Arizona.
Arizona. Okay, Arizona has a really competitive debate. Like, I guess like competitive debate thing. Like there'll be different leagues, but I'm from the Bay Area, so the Bay Area League is called CFL, and like there's 4 rounds, and then if you win all 4, right, then you get a wild card entry to the qualifications tournament. Like it's super complicated, but like at least for California, I think they have a little bit like it's a little bit more complicated because we have more events, but. Basically, if you do well in the league tournaments, you can go to the qualification tournaments. And then if you do well at the qualification tournaments, you go to the state tournament. Make sense?
Yeah. But is there like
Okay,
national ones too, like international?
Yeah, there are national ones. Yeah. So the one where I lost on the 3rd or 2nd elimination round, that was a national qualification event. So they're like 532 people, and I was like top 32, I think. And then you have to be top 8 to make it to nationals.
Wow.
Yeah. it's pretty hard competition. Like I had a friend who made it to the third round and then he lost by one judge because like there's 3 judges for the elimination rounds compared to 1 judge for the other
Oh.
ones.
Every judge has to agree.
Yeah, yeah, you have to get like 2 out of 3 of the judges to win.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Sounds
It's
complicated.
trust me, guys. Like with how like you guys are paying attention, like, and I'm sure like especially if you're in Arizona, are both of you in Arizona, or?
No, I'm in California.
Oh yeah, if you're in California, right? There's a lot of really good coaches who have like my coach was a state champion and a national champion, and then my
Oh.
speech coach, which is like for the speech events, he was a 2-time national champion. So like all the coaches in the Bay Area are super good. So like always trust what they say. Like even like for me, I'm like a noob like for teaching compared to them because they're extremely good. So like if you're gonna do debate in high school, you'll end up with a good coach, and like you can always find coaches elsewhere. So just always make sure you're paying attention to what you're doing, and always like put your best foot forward when it comes to debate.
Yeah.
It's probably the most rewarding thing you could do in high school because if you get good at it, you'll stay good at it. And on top of that, like it makes life a lot easier because like I say the first year or 2, right? Or like probably just first year, it's like you're kind of pretty bad, I'd say. Like when I was doing junior varsity debate, like I was not even winning like maybe 30% of my rounds. Like I was 30% win rate. But then like once I got pretty decent and I started understanding how to do research, like and how to kind of like present myself better, speak better, right? I started winning like 75% of my rounds.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'll see you guys Wednesday, and I'll do a couple of things. So just check the Google Classroom, yeah?
Oh
I have
yeah.
a quick question.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so for the homework, you said that we're gonna vote for on the topic. So like, are we
Yeah.
gonna vote for which topic we want to do? Or
Yeah, I think I might just put a bunch of topics there and allow you guys to do whatever topic you want.
okay,
Sound good?
thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
All right, I'll see you guys
Bye.
next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.